The Plants vs Zombies 3 beta is back once again, and with it comes a whole bunch of new changes and updates. Unfortunately, these changes are somewhat minimal in the grand scale of things, with a lot of fans commenting that the beta is no different, there are no new plants and feels more like Gardenscapes. The most significant change in the new PvZ 3 beta is repairing and customization of Dave's house. Between each level you will receive a taco ticket as before, and you need to spend these tickets to complete a task for Dave. Not entirely sure why we have this currency system, but we'll leave that landmine for another day. Some of these tasks involve helping Dave spruce up the place, and as part of that you now get an option of 3 different decoration themes that in all fairness look pretty cool, but are only cosmetic. They don't grant any stat bonuses or anything like that. Another addition in terms of gameplay is Vase Breaker. Yes, the fan favourite minigame is back. This is unlocked once you complete level 30. It works just as it has in the previous games, however once the level is complete it goes on cooldown for a few hours, so I think this is going to act as like a daily challenge. The final new mechanic in this version of PvZ 3 is the new leaderboard and scoring system. Starting at level 13, 3 road signs will appear on the lawn, and this acts as a point system. Basically, if you kill a zombie in the first column you get 1 point, second column 3 points, and third column 2 points. These points then go onto a global leaderboard where you can compare your score to others. The points you score are also used to unlock lunchbox prizes, which can contain power-ups, coins, etc. In terms of improvement and changes though, generally everything does feel a bit slicker and more finished, but there's nothing massive that has changed. There are some new levels, and in general the levels seem a bit more standard in length. They're not super short like in the previous version. The only real exception to this rule is the tutorial levels. The game has also received some minor balancing for plants. In particular, all of the sun values have been aligned to previous Plants vs Zombies values, i.e. a sun cost of 1 in Plants vs Zombies 3 is equal to 25 sun in the other games. A couple of changes include Sunflower's cost being decreased from 3 to 2, so basically she now costs 50 sun. Pea shooters increased from 3 to 4, and bamboo shoots cost has been increased as well from 3 to 4. Moving over to the story, which is only present in the first 24 levels, has also had a bit of a rework. Crazy Dave, who is called Regular Dave but definitely still crazy, takes a much bigger leading role this time. It's hard to tell if this was always going to be the plan, but it feels like the plot has had a bit of a soft reboot. New cutscenes have been added which are a little more complex than before, and we even get some lore and background segments, which is nice. The storytelling sequences do feel very much like they do in PvZ Heroes with the comic book windows, which I quite enjoyed. Patrice also feels a bit less annoying in this one. In the second beta she came across as a brat in my opinion, but this time she seemed more mellow and really wants to help her Uncle Dave. It should also be noted that Douglas does not make an appearance this time. A couple of small visual changes have been noted, including improved dirt textures and a rework of the roof for the volcano levels. We also had our first sneak peek at Dr. Zomboss. While he doesn't appear in the game during the beta, this illustration pops up at one point, giving us a good idea of what he is going to look like. Lastly, we have some user interface changes and tweaks. On the level selection screen, you are now able to interact with the plants. By tapping on any of the seed packets, you will be given information about what each of them do. There is a short bit of flavor text that includes a funky word at the end of it, but worryingly, this suggests that perhaps we won't be seeing an almanac in PvZ 3. As for the UI during the levels, a couple of elements have been moved around slightly. The level progression bar no longer has a blue border around it, some buttons seem to have updated textures, and there is a new animation for a huge wave of zombies is approaching. The size of the user interface has also been decreased slightly as it was excessively large in the previous beta. Overall, I kind of feel the reaction to this beta from the fanbase is probably the most negative, and understandably I think. Most of us understand that game development isn't necessarily a fast process, but the fact we've heard nothing for 6 months to then get something that feels no further forward from a gameplay perspective is frustrating. The changes feel more like what systems can we add in that can be monetized, which is obviously more than a little bit concerning. The biggest issue pretty much all of us have with PvZ 3 is the core gameplay, yet a lot of the things we've seen added in here are extra parts of the game that don't affect the player's core experience. If the gameplay loop isn't enjoyable, no matter what extra bits you add around the outside, on top or wherever, it's not necessarily going to make any difference. Anyway guys, before this turns into a full-on rant, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed. I'm interested to hear what you think of the PvZ 3 beta, and if I have missed anything else new, let me know in the comments below. But other than that, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, turn on notifications, and if you want to support the channel further, check out my Patreon page by clicking on screen or through the link in the description. Okay, thanks guys, bye.